I made $10,000 in a week doing this.
Yeah.
With us, with security is like, I got a gun, gotta talk to my wife. So what we do at Closers is we'll find a guy like you. You guys take lunch?
Yeah.
Like where do you guys put your lunch?
So usually
You meet up.
We meet up and then
That's why.
I, on average, knock on 100 doors a day. 50 of them answer. Majority, have some form of smoke screen or objection I have to overcome. The more and more you knock, later in the summer, you sound more like a robot. You sound like a broken record.
Yeah.
That's why I came here for Tana. If there's a way to run ads or something in the area I'm in, or use marketing to get more leads, increase our revenue for myself and my team included, how to be a leader. Because right now I'm taking a leadership role. I'm in charge of recruiting. I'm in charge of the expenses of getting the guys out there and, making sure they're taking care of the food, the housing, all that.
Yeah.
I want to learn from someone who's actually done it and has the experience to kind of help guide me in the right direction.
Nice to meet you, man. Where did you come from?
Houston.
Oh yeah, no way.
Texas,
Cool,
yeah.
man. So you did 122,000 in sales in 3 months?
Yes.
Okay. And then your goal is what?
250 next year.
Double it. Okay. So I mean, the first thing to look at is like you're trying to double production. I mean, there's only a few things we can do. So like, let's just write those down. Let's walk through them, and then I'll go through my pitch. So you work more. Okay. You get out at 9 a.m. and you just like literally obliterate yourself. But you'd have to go to bed and eat healthy. I mean, you have to be on top of your shit. Like, I mean, you have no life. You could do that. Second thing is you close more, right? So you just get the same amount, but you're obviously closing a lot more, okay? And then obviously like the last one is your team, okay? Which is the hardest technically, depends, like that can be somewhat hard to control. The other thing too is it's just this percentage is so low. So my pitch, I'd like to hear your pitch, but here was my pitch. So this was security, okay? So this is so nostalgic for me because I did this, it was so terrible. So I would knock on the door and they'd open up. We had a cell phone where it had like all their info. I was like, hey, are you Mr. Smith? And because I knew their name, they're like, that immediately they're kind of like, yeah, like, who are you?
Right.
I was like, oh, my name's Tanner. It's so funny thinking this. My name's Tanner. I'm with the crime prevention unit in the area. We were just going by to all the neighbors because there's been a lot of crime on TV lately. Have you seen that? I'm kind of giving them like head gestures and stuff. They're like, yeah. I was like, yeah. So I don't know if you've seen this, but the FBI has shown, it's like this little pamphlet it has, like the FBI has shown it's 60% less likely to get broken into if you have one of these signs in your yard. So I was just going around, in the neighborhood, seeing if we could put a free sign in your yard. Would that be okay with you? And there were other ways I pitched, but this was like the one that worked the best. I just did because I always could get that verbal commitment. So they're like, yeah, like that's fine. I was like, cool. I just need a little info. Do you have somewhere I can sit down real quick? And I would start like walking in. And then I'd get in and then I would start going through my pitch. And what I would do is I'd start getting their info. I'd run their credit. We do a soft poll and it had to be above a C. So it had to be a D. It's A, B, C, D. The higher the credit, the more they pay, but obviously the harder it is to close them, right? Because they pay all their bills.
Right.
So once I ran their credit, I'm like, yeah, so just to verify you're the homeowner, what's your date of birth? And like, I'm putting it in and stuff and I run it. And then like, if they sucked, I would just be like, yeah, cool. So we'll go ahead and get that sign out. That's it. Have a great day. And I'd leave. If it was a good credit, then I'd get ready to transition to the pitch. I was like, yeah, so what we'll do, I was like, first off, just so I understand your home a little better, do you care more about, it's so funny, man. Do you care more about security? Do you care more about like a fire? Or do you care more about like medical? And right, if they were older, it'd be like medical, most people security. And they're like, yeah, probably security. I was like, okay, and like, why do you say that? I'm starting to try to build, like need and stuff. And they'd say, oh, this and that. I was like, cool, well, after I built enough need, I was like, cool, so like part of the other reason I'm here, if you're interested, well, I wouldn't say if you're interested. I can't remember what I said. It was years ago. But, I would transition somehow and say, yeah, so like if you're interested, what we do is we can put that sign in your yard and then we'll actually give you a free security system. All the equipment's completely free. All you have to do is keep it connected. And then they'd be like, all right, like what does that mean? I was like, yeah, it's just $49.99 a month. And then like everything's free and you'll get that free sign as well. Does that sound good? And then like I would just go from there. But I had to get in the house.
Yeah.
That was the hardest part. So like for you, you're probably like for me in a day, bro, I try to run like my best day ever. I ran like 20 something credits, which means I got in 20 houses. So that was kind of my pitch. So I'm just curious to see, like, first off, like, do you guys all kind of do the same pitch, I'm assuming?
Pretty much. I mean, it's different for each team, but.
So like, walk me, I'm curious to hear, like,
Yeah,
let's hear your pitch.
So pretty much just knock on the door.
Okay.
Like we tried doing icebreaker. I always sucked at them, so I just stayed professional. I was like, "Hi, I'm Joe Emerson. I'm with Hawks Pest Control," and I then go on to say, "Hey, do you know your neighbor Susie?"
Right. Get someone. Okay.
Yeah, I'd be like, "Hey, we're taking care of her today. We're just her bug. I'm just her bug guy." And I'd shake like nod my head, be like, "Yeah, yeah." And then I kind of go into it. Hey, if you want to give us a shot, I'm doing it super cheap today. And then just to throw that hook out there, usually they buy like, okay, what's cheap? And
Right.
then I'm like, well, up here in the eaves, I go through PBFB, up here in the eaves where your spiders would hang out, just looks unseemly. Yeah, I don't want you out here in the broom trying to knock them down yourself. They come back a week later. So I'll get my guy out here to do that for you. It's usually $250 for the first one, but I'll knock down to $49. If you want to give me a shot, and $55 a month after that.
Yeah.
And then they'd be like, $49. I'm like, yeah. And then if I get a smoke screen objection, I then go into, first I have to, acknowledge it, then I have
Yeah.
to resolve it.
Sure.
It's closed.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
then
What are some of the objections you get? So like the opener's
Yeah,
fine.
so-
The opener's fine. Yeah, let's go through all the way. So what are some of the objections you get, just so we can come back to those?
So the biggest objection is I already have a guy, like switch over.
Already got a guy.
Even though that's not really an objection, but switch overs is the most thing you hear. Also, just saying not interested. Just I don't need pest control.
Right. I mean, door to door, that's like the biggest one,
Yeah.
bro.
So there's that. There's got to talk to the wife. The wife husband objection.
Okay.
And then
No one gives you price, do they?
there's a price objection.
Sometimes. Okay.
Yeah.
With us, with security is like, I got a gun, gotta talk to my wife, not interested, price, come back later. I don't know, but that was why when I got in the house, it was so much easier, because once I'm in the house, it's hard to kick me out.
Yeah.
For pest control, it's not worth it though, because the deals are too low. It's like, you can't spend a bunch of time selling it.
Yeah, I'd say that's like the biggest four right there. Or just come back. That's also one
Come back, yeah, comeback's like basically, those are, dude, did you ever, when I started, I remember my first couple days, I got like all these comebacks. I was like, dude, I'm gonna crush it. And then you go back.
I knew immediately if I didn't sell them at the door,
yeah, you're
it's
done.
not worth my time to go back.
No,
I
no.
think I had two that actually.
All year?
Yeah, it's like it was getting dark and knocked on the doors already. I was like, okay, well, I got nothing else better to do, and I would go back and this.
Yeah.
People said yeah.
Yeah, it's very rare. So here's what I would suggest for here. I would skip lunch. Here's why. What I did is you can do one of the two. Either don't eat breakfast, and then right as you're getting to the doors, you're eating right then. You just go the full day. Like no break. So when we did security, we didn't take lunch. We just worked the whole day. As long as you're getting enough sleep, I never felt like taking a lunch break was needed. I just felt like the only time I really want to take a lunch break is I was just getting my dick kicked in mentally, and I'm just like, this, but it was never because I was like, oh, I'm so tired. And you adapt, right? So like I was at first, but then I adapted. So it also depends on the efficiency. Like what time do you get on the actual door?
11 o'clock.
So I would go at 11, I'd take like little snacks, and that's it. Because anything that's taking you a ton of time off the doors, to me, it's like, you're only doing it for 3 months. You're gonna push hard. That's my first opinion. Cause like right there, if you do 10 doors an hour, that would give you 20 more doors a day. That would give you another 140 doors a week. That would probably give you another 5 or 6 sales a week. Yeah. So right off the bat, and you're doing it for what, 12 weeks?
Yeah.
Well, let's do the math. So let's just say 6 more sales a week, 12 weeks, 2 more sales right there. Right? And I think like, especially if you're on the Segway, dude, it's like, you're not expending that much calories. I know it's tiring, but in my opinion, like how much do you really think you need the break? Does anyone not take breaks? Or is that just kind of what everyone does?
I mean, for my team, everyone kind of was, but there's guys in the company that skip lunch, and they're usually guys who do better.
Okay. So in my opinion, if I were you, when you're out, and it's also in my opinion too, starting and stopping is way harder. So it's almost like if you're running a marathon, right? And then you stop, and then it's like, okay, guys, start. That for me is so hard. And if you notice when you eat food, a lot of times like it's kind of telling your body to start relaxing. So for me, I get brain fog and stuff a lot of times. So 72 more sales. Let's say the average sale you're getting what? Like what's the commission on a sale?
$700 is my average contract, and then commission.
Okay, so 72 times 700. So yeah, dude, that right there is 50,000 more right there. So I mean, that's just you controlling. That's you doing the same amount of here and just more output. I mean, that's gonna take you from 122. That takes you to 170 right there.
Yeah.
Done. I would definitely do that. The only reason I'm saying that is because I did it. And at first when I mean, it's also what people tell you. So like what's happening probably is your team is like, yeah, you need lunch. So you're like, oh, I need lunch. Because they're telling you that. My team was like, don't be a bitch, you don't need lunch. So I just never took it. And then that's why when you're telling me something like, you guys take lunch?
Yeah.
Like where do you guys put your lunch?
So usually we
You meet up.
We meet up and then
That's why.
they're-
See, dude, our guys, they dropped us like, see you tonight. They never came back.
yeah.
So it wasn't even an option for us, so I just never did it. So I think what you should do is just tell your guys like, yeah, drop me off, don't get me until the end of the day. That will be harder mentally, but I think if you do it for a week or two, it's not that hard, and you'll get in a rhythm. The next thing on your pitch, the only thing I would think about, these are things to think about. Try something besides price. You're selling a commodity right off the bat. So that I don't like selling that way, because what you're basically saying is, hey, there's pest control services, but they're more expensive. I'll give you a cheaper one, which is like one of the lowest value propositions you can do, because you're basically just saying, hey, like we're cheaper than the other guys. Here's what I would do if I was you. So let's say typically in a house, you're like, hey, like we'll do your, like what's a normal service? They're like, hey, we'll spray around the house, we'll fucking hit your cobwebs. That's probably normal service. What I would do if you can, you might not be able to, but I would say like, hey, so typically we just helped Susie, she had this and this. Now, typically when we do a service, all we're really allowed to do is spray around the house and hit the cobwebs. But if you let me do it today, we can do this, and that. That usually costs this much, but today it's only that. That would be more of a value add, because now you're doing more for a lesser price. Something like that, because then they're getting value versus you're just like, hey, we'll do it for cheap. And you could even say, and I make a little less commission on that, but I saw that you needed it, I'm happy to throw that into you, because then it feels like a deal, right? They need to feel like it's a deal for them. If you're just like, I don't know, to me, if you told me it's cheaper today, I'm like, he's full of shit.
Right.
Like, because I'm in sales. This has worked for you. So I already got a guy. You're like, awesome, that's great. Like, if you don't mind me asking, what do they do? And they're like, oh, well, they do this, this, and this. Oh, that's amazing. And then I would try to gather that data, because if you could figure out what they do in the price, now you have enough info to make a decision. So if they're like, yeah, they do, this and this, and it's $29 a month, and it's like Terminix, based on what you said, then I probably would just leave, because like if you're a higher price and you're doing the same thing, there's nothing else you can add.
Yeah.
The cool part is then if they're not doing everything you guys do, you're like, hey, totally get it. That's a great price. The only thing we've kind of seen is they don't usually add in mosquitoes and whatever else. So I totally understand the prices there, but if we could add that in, would it make sense to pay a little more? I'd say something like that.
Right.
And you're also trying to be fast, right? Like we got to hit 106 doors. We're just like, yeah, would that make sense for you? And if they're like, no, it's like, okay, so wouldn't it make sense to get better service for a little bit more? And then if they say no, I'd bounce. If they say yes, then I'm like, they're like, yeah, it does. I'm like, cool. So wait, let me, and then you can sell them.
Right.
You see how it always goes back to more value? You got to increase the value. So that's why I like you leading with this, because if they say, I already got a guy, you're like, cool, what do they do? And what's the price? What are you going to hit them on? This.
Value.
I think no matter what they say here, you're going to go back to more value. And that's why I'm trying to get you to do is because like price is the weakest value proposition. More value is like giving more, like more stuff. What I want to hit on next then, dude, is like recruiting. So one of our companies is called Elite Closers. You just go to eliteclosers.com, look at it. Now what this company does, okay, is we help find, hire, and train sales reps to do remote sales from home for that company. Okay, so let's just give you an example. Let's say a company, and these are usually high ticket. So where now what you're selling is low ticket. You're selling, it's $680 for the year, which is like, I mean, bro, it's so cheap. Like, the people who say it's expensive, like mind-boggling to me, right? I'm like, what the that's my dinner in Miami, right?
Yeah.
So high ticket is typically 3K plus. Okay, so I just want you to understand this will make sense. So what we do at Closers is we'll find a guy like you, okay? Like, hey, Joe. So what we're gonna do, dude, is you're gonna pay us this fee. Let's just say the fee's $3,000, okay? Now I know that's a lot, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna place you with this company, called Company A, that sells a $10,000 package, and you can take calls from your home for 10% commission, okay? So that's $1,000 a sale versus right now you get $680 for the year.
Yeah.
Because this is what I would tell a guy like you. So Joe, you did pest control, right? Cool, dude. So you're probably already a really good salesman. What would make sense though is how much did you make in the last summer? You're like, oh, I made, 30K. It's like, cool, but you're on the doors all day, every day, right? Yeah, you're sweating, you're off, yeah, it sucks. Cool, dude. I'll tell you what, if you come into Elite Closers and you go through our certification program, we'll place you in a company where you can sell $10,000 deals. Let's say on average in a month, you get 100 calls okay? On your calendar, remember, these are from home. 30 people you close. Let's say I have 30 people, you close 30%. So let's say you close 9 deals, okay? Let's say it's a 10,000, so that's $90,000 collected, and you get a $9,000 commission check. What do you think about that? Would that work for you? You're going to guys and you're basically saying, hey, instead of Papa John's, do this, but this is hard. So that's a hard sell. What I would say, if I were you, I was in your shoes and I was building a team, I'd say, look, you're not gonna do pest control forever, right? Because most of these guys don't want to do it forever, right? I'm gonna ask you after, like, I don't know if you want to do it forever, but let's just say you do. Let's say these guys don't want to do it forever. The way you can recruit them to your team is like, I think it's naive of you to think these guys are gonna stay on for years. You probably have to recruit new guys every year, mostly, right?
Yeah, it's the
Okay.
fall off rate's insane.
Okay, this is what I would say. Like, if I was recruiting right now, this is how I think I'd out recruit you and what I would try to do. I'd say, so look, dude, I'll be honest with you. This is gonna be a hard job. You're gonna have to work hard. You're not gonna do this the rest of your life. You're gonna do this for 3 months. Why would you do this? Let me walk you through it. So first, you're gonna make 10 to 15K, all right? So you're gonna make about $5,000 a month. Now, after that, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send you over to Elite Closers, where their certification program for you guys is only $3,000. Typically, they charge $98. But here's the deal. At the end of the program, they will place you in a company, okay, where you can make 10% commission of what, you can make 10% commission from home. They need someone who messages. And this is from home. So like, pretend you had your phone and you can make 10K a month from home. Like, it's a pretty good deal, right? So what you do is you say, so what you can do is after, and we could also figure this out too, but let's just say they had to pay. So look, you have to pay because they have to make sure you're certified and you're serious, right? Just thinking of like your sales education, college sales education. But then they're gonna place you in a company. So here's how it works. Companies will pay you to either message people on social media or take calls. The average company pays you 10% commission. So most companies are gonna get you between, let's say part-time, you're gonna get, let's say part-time, you're like 3 calls a day. Full-time, let's say 6. And sometimes it's more, but like these are averages. You'd be like, some guys take 8, but let's just say on average. So let's say in a week, you have 15 calls part-time, or full-time, you're gonna have 30. And that's like, let's say they get Saturdays and Sundays off. So right now, you guys don't even get Saturdays off. So if you get 30 calls a week, that's 120 a month, would be what, 60? Okay, and let's say they're selling a 5K package, which is like, that's usually the lowest. Most of our clients, just so you understand the high ticket space, 10, 15, 20K. Let's just say 5K. Okay, so let's say they're selling a 5K package. This one, they're selling a 5K package. And I would have this as a presentation, dude. Like, I think you get so many dudes who'd sign up for this shit. You can let me know after, but here's like what I would do. If you have 120 calls, no shows, cancels, calls that you don't close, you'll close 30%. Okay, so here's what I do. So that's 15. So if you close 15 deals at 5K, this one would be 30. Okay, that's 120K. That's 12K commission. Here, that's 15 times 5 is what? 90? So that's 9K commission. So, and you'd be like, and let's say it's not even this good, which is average. Let's say it was even worse. Would you be happy with 5K a month taking calls from home, which is what you already made working your off? That's what I would do, dude.
Yeah.
So like my little brother Gentry, he had no college degree. He was making $3,000 a month. He started selling for me. He started making $30,000 a month doing high ticket sales. So I think what you need to do, so here's the thing, here's where people f up. You're selling them on, oh, you can make more than Papa John's. That's a fucking low proposition. What I would sell them on is like, yo, come work for me for 3 months. At the end of the 3 months, I'll place you in this program. What's the number one reason people can't do this? They suck at sales.
They do.
What's the number one thing they're gonna learn doing door to door? How to be good at sales.
Yeah.
That to me is how I would go recruit. Dude, if you take that pitch to other people, bro, no one else is gonna have that good of a pitch because it's a weak pitch. That's why people can't recruit, because your proposition sucks. That's what I would do. What do you think? I don't know.
I think it's good.
Because you know what they did to me? Dude, you're gonna make so much money. This is so much better than Papa John's. And I'm like, yeah. And then you do it for a couple days. They're like, what happens is they see how hard it is. They won't stick.
Yeah.
But if you can give them an end in mind, they'll push through because you go, look, the only deal is you have to finish the summer. If you finish the summer, I'll pay this fee for you. And then they'll place you in companies where you can make this much. Bro, you would probably out recruit everybody.
Yeah,
If I was talking to you and I was like, hey, what about this? Would that make sense to you?
definitely. Yeah.
Right, because you just went from 32K to 150K working from home. That's a better value proposition. You see how it's all value? So to me, I would do this. Door to door teaches me the skills to go and pay the bills. It's not the future.
Yeah.
Show them the difference. You're like, look, you take 6 calls a day in your underwear, you close 30%, that's what you get paid. They're like, wait, it's at home? Like, dude, this is literally how the calls look. I mean, you do this. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And then they're qualified. So you know what the difference, you know the other thing with you? Those are cold leads. You know what the difference is here? These are warm leads. The reason guys can't recruit is because you guys are trying to sell them on
On the wrong thing.
it's like what kid? Oh, dude, so I get to go out every summer for the rest of my life and knock on doors? Yeah, like no one wants to do that. So dude, that's even better. Yeah, okay, so you do this. You say, look, you have to sell at least 10K. If you do, I'll pay for you. If you don't, you can still go there, but you have to pay. So you can even make it where it's like, and it's $3,000 to get in. And they're like, well, why is it $3,000? It's like, well, if you could pay $3,000 to make that much a month, do you think that's fair? What are they gonna say? Well, yeah. It's like, all right. So all I'm saying is if I do this for you, you have to kick this summer. What do you say?
Right.
Dude, you will get way more than 7 people. Way more.
Oh, yeah.
And then what I could do is if you wanted to do it, I just give you resources and testimonials and stuff. And you'd be like, yeah, here's all the stuff, verify it. We're like a 4.9 out of 5 on Trustpilot. We've got, the whole page is littered with videos and stuff. And like what we do is we find guys who don't want to build businesses, but they still want to make a lot of money. So think, if you don't want to build a business and you want to make $250,000 a year, you know how you do it? Right, so if I'm a company that sells a 15K package and you get 150 calls, you'll make more than a company that sells a 5K that does 150 calls, right? So the question is like, the better they are, guess what? The bigger the companies will hire them because those are the most coveted spots. But even a lot of your guys, if they came in and were making this as an 18 or 20-year-old, what do you think they do? They shit a brick.
Yeah.
I mean, bro, if I was making that, dude, at 18 or like your age, bro, when I made 10K, my first job, I was like, people go to college not because they enjoy it, unless they party, but the regular folk, they go because what they're gonna get at the end. And that's what people miss in pest control and security sales is you guys are selling them on the wrong thing.
Yeah. Good
But
point.
you also didn't know this existed.
Yeah, I didn't even know that existed. So.
I didn't know it existed either. I thought the way you're doing it. So what I would do is when you have your recruiting meetings, this is the opportunity you sell them on because guess what? They're still doing sales. They don't have to own a business. They can sit at home. They can wear their underwear. They can do part-time or full-time. They make 10% commission on a $5 or $10 or $15,000 deal. They're pre-qualified leads.
Right.
They're pre-qualified, which means they already want to buy it. And dude, I could send you videos where I close some of these people and show you it's real. It's like, I mean, that's how I've made so much money. That's how I built my company. You can't build it. It's hard to, like the way you're building a company, you know why your company doesn't market? They can't afford to. You know why? You're selling a $680 package. Let's say your company ran ads. Well, let's say it costs $400. Well, there's only $180 of profit left over. That's not enough. You know why they get guys like you? Well, look, if I can get Joe to go knock for free and waste his time, quote unquote, right?
Right.
And get me, that's great because the company will grow. That's why they do it.
Yeah.
It's great business. It's a great business. The only thing about the business I don't understand with these businesses, the trucks, there's a lot of the trucks and all that stuff. I get why they make so much money. That's why security companies and stuff, dude, they can make so much money. The hard part is just convincing the buyer why they should buy theirs and not someone else's. That's what's hard. So like if I tried to start a security or pest control company now, it's not that it wouldn't work. It would just be, I would be competing against you. And that's the hard part. But that's why they do door to door, because door to door, they don't spend any money. They're just getting young guys like you, hey, go do the work for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't get that at the time, but now that I'm older and I'm up here, it makes more sense.
Yeah.
So
what I would do is like, look, all of us here are in college. This is where I'd start. This is a low secret. Because yeah, dude, you can talk to a bunch of people, but it's like, how much effort are you willing to put in? Is it worth it? Because like the one thing for me now that I built a big company is like, you can't go one-to-one forever, right? Like this is the slowest way to grow a company. It's like you want to go one-to-many, right?
Yeah.
Which is usually gonna have to be social media. So like what I would do first is you're like, hey guys, look, you're fraternity. You're like, look, we're in college, we're about to graduate. So we can either go do a job, 9 to 5, right? Where we're gonna make probably 60K a year, let's just say it's 60K, or we can go into remote closing. This is how we sell some people, right? So you're like, so remote.
Remote closing, typically, you can make between 120 to, 480 a year. So people, that's the highest people usually, because you'll run out of time. Like, you can only take so many calls in a day, right? So that's full time. And then this is like, I would say like kind of more bottom of the barrel. Because like if you're a full-time closer, right? Like if you're closing deals, most companies who need a closer are making at least 100K a month. So 10% of 100K is 10K. That's kind of around that area, right? So 10K, that's times 12, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So like the way I would pitch my fraternity brothers is like, look, you guys can go do a 9 to 5 you hate and make hardly any money, right? Or you can go into remote closing. Okay, here's how remote closing works. And then you just sell them. You're like, so first step is you got to go sell for Hawk for 3 months.
Hawks.
I'm sorry, man.
You're good, man. It's fun because people on the
Is
door.
it Hawks like with an S?
Yeah, it's X. So HAWX.
H-A-W. Okay. Hawks. Okay. After that, you'll go through the closer program. And what I would say to get people to pay is I would do this. I'd be like, you have to sell 10 to 15K a month. I will pay for you to come in this program. I'll pay for you. Why? Because that's an easier proposition than getting them to pay.
Right.
And then look, if you're making 50%, then like you could come to us and you're like, hey Tanner, I made 7K off this guy. Here's 2. They don't know anything, but you just do a subsidized fee because we gotta get paid something if we did it, or whatever company you go with. Which like it usually is 98, but like if you did this, I'm just like thinking through masterminding with you, right? Closer program, and then you'll get placed in a company, okay, where you can make, 10 to 40K a month. What if you made the same amount? What if you made 60K a year working from your house on your cell phone versus a job? I bet you most of your bros would take that, dude. So like I would start with your fraternity brothers, see how that goes, and then work from there. Because dude, like think if like you could pitch that to people, how much easier it would be like, yo, do you know anyone who like would like that? I bet you, and then you can pay them like a referral fee. But like, I'll tell you what, if you get someone to do this and they come out in the summer, I'll give you $1,000 when they hit 10 grand or something. Or like whatever. Like incentivize people. Give them a reason to help you.
Yeah.
Here's what I would do to leverage your time. Make a presentation, record it. Do you know how to do that stuff? Okay, so here's what you're gonna do. All right, I got you, bro. Here's what you're gonna do so you don't have to say the same shit 100 times. So 1, make a presentation. How are you gonna do it? PowerPoint, so Loom is like $10, you could cancel it. It's $10. Okay, so here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna make a PowerPoint presentation where it's like, all right, the title would be like how to make 10K plus a month as like something like this, like a remote closer with no degree. Okay? So just like I would make like, so what I'm trying to get you to do is like this, how do I build such a big company? I make one video and we run ads to it and everyone sees the same thing, right? I'm not doing this, I'm like, imagine if I had to do this with every single sales call.
Yeah.
Can't scale it. Okay. So it's usually just like how to make X amount, like, so X amount, right? This is the structure. So it's like how to make X amount as a X with Y, right? So how to make 10K a month as a remote closer, that's what they call it, with no degree or whatever. Like, cause dude, you can sell this to guys still in college. My brother Gentry, and he didn't go to college and did this. He makes like now, he doesn't work for me anymore, but he makes like $250,000 a year and he just manages, he's actually a manager now for these guys, okay? So imagine being a manager for remote sales guys where you're managing from home. Right. Like it's pretty cool. Anyways, so that's your thing. And then you just go through the presentation. You're gonna make it on PowerPoint. You'll record it with Loom. And then everyone who's interested, you're like, hey dude, check this out. No pressure at all. I found a legit opportunity. It's no bullshit. How you can make 10K plus a month as a remote closer, working from home. Watch it. Let me know if you're interested. And then dude, what you could do is like, people would just watch it, and if they're interested, then you have a combo with them. And you're like, just look, dude, it's 10 to 15 minutes. Make it as short as possible, right? You want it as short as possible, but don't leave anything out. Kind of do what we just did on the board, right? So you're like, look, dude, watch this video. If you're interested after, let me know. If you're not, I won't talk to you. And that's how I would do it. You know what the other thing with recruiters they do that's stupid? You're telling you're telling the same thing over and over. And think how easy it's like, hey, dude, what's up? My name's Tanner. Someone told me you're interested in possibly, making 10K a month as a remote closer. Cool. What I do, no hard sell. watch this video. It's 15 minutes. If you're interested, text me and we'll have a conversation. Done. Because then you're only getting interested people instead of you're like hard selling.
Right.
Because you know what sucks with recruiting? You get people who commit and then they don't do it or they fall off. And it's like, yeah, dude, no harm, no foul. But if you sell them on this, you're like, you have to sell for me for the summer to get to here. You can't do that without selling to me for the summer. And you go, you know why? Because if you don't sell for me, Tanner's gonna make you pay $9,800, but if you do it for me, it's free. They don't have $9,800. See? That's what I would do, bro.
Yeah,
Does that help?
it does help.
Unless you wanted to start your own company, if that's a goal for you, now that you know sales, learning the other stuff will be easier because that's the number one skill. But if I'm you and I'm pitching to these guys, this is by far the best opportunity, dude, because like anything else, they won't make enough, right? So you're like, well, why would I do it? It's like, well, you can go, make 50 grand doing this. It's like, well, bro, like, fuck, like I can do that without it.
Well, for me, this is just my viewpoint on starting my own business.
You're good.
There's so many businesses out there already.
Mhm.
I'd rather just learn a skill and help someone
Then
else's business grow.
then eventually this is where you're gonna want to go because that's the
Yeah.
most. So these guys will make. So like if you're a beast, now keep in mind, you got to remember you got Larry down here as a fucking idiot, and then you got Tom up here as a 10. So the beasts can make probably about that much working from home. Now there's other sales jobs that you can make more, but you got to go into office. It's corporate. I'm talking from home.
Yeah.
It's about 40,000 a month. Most guys, I'd say most guys. Low end is 10K, but I'd say most guys are like 10 to 20. I'd say like, if I took 10 guys in a room, I'd say about probably eight of them, because the company sizes, right? Probably 8 of them are like in here, and then I'd say like 2 of them are like more. Maybe that's too much. I'd say like maybe 7, and I'd say like 3 are doing like 20K plus. But those 3 are the better guys, right? So if you gave me like 10 of your recruits, most of them are probably gonna be in this range. So this one's probably like 5, and then I'd say like 5K to 10K, because like let's say these companies aren't as good or they're not as good, so I'd say like 2. I'd probably like this: 2 down here, 5 are in here, 3 are like kind of like that. That's probably what it is. You know what the other thing is? Think about a business owner. What is the hardest thing to find? Work ethic, drive. So you have work ethic and drive and the skill. So then they're like, all right, and then you're fucking like, you don't want to lose it because you're like, oh my God. And then that's how it happened for me. So after door-to-door sales, I went into this for my business. This is how I run my business. I was taking the calls to start, and I was like, are you fucking, I made $10,000 in a week doing this.
Yeah.
And then I started building my company, and now I have sales reps and I teach it, but that's how I started. Yeah.
Tanner pretty much went step by step how to do it, and he told me something that I would never have even thought about. So just going over everything with Tanner just opened my mindset to a bunch of whole new possibilities and action steps to actually do them. So I think that's really cool. Definitely worth coming here. I flew from Houston, so bought a plane ticket, bought a hotel room just like that. It was so quick, but I'm glad I did. And I'm glad I took the initiative to take action and come here, because no one has ever showed me this before. I feel blessed, and I'm ready to get to work and ready to keep learning. And shout out to Tanner's team. I mean, they do a great job.